Welcome to Coadep Econs Academy. Today we're going to have a discussion on national income, and our particular interest will be in finding out the approaches by which we can arrive at national income. Before we start, let's refresh our minds on what we mean by national income. National income is the monetary value of all the goods and services produced by factors owned by nationals of a country within a given period of time, usually 1 year. So what we mean by national income is that we want to know the goods and services that have been produced by factors that are owned by nationals, and nationals here means citizens of a country. So when we are able to identify all these goods and services that factors owned by citizens of a country have been able to produce, then we find out its monetary value, and that is the national income. National income has a lot of uses, and it is important we understand how we arrive at it in our study of economics. So, where do we start? To be able to understand national income, it is important that we consider an economy that is very basic. And here, we are going to consider an economy that is closed. When we talk about closed economy, it means that we are not engaging in any form of international trade, so that there is no export and there is no import. And all our nationals are within our borders. We don't have foreigners within our borders, and we don't have our nationals outside our borders. This is the economy we are starting with. So let's be mindful of these assumptions. And even in this closed economy, we are saying that we don't have government. Because of this, what are the economic agents in this closed economy without government? First, we will have households, and second, we will have firms. So in this economy, we are going to consider there will be only two economic actors, who are households and firms. Now, let's move on to our analysis. There's a model that can help us understand the approaches by which we can measure national income. And this is what we call the circular flow of income. It may have different versions, but here we are going with this version of the circular flow of income. As we said earlier, we will only have two economic agents, who are households and firms. What we have to know is that the households are the consumers in the economy. So the goods and services that we produce in the economy, it is the household that will consume them. We also assume here that all factors of production, so when we talk about factors of production, we're talking about land, labor, capital, entrepreneurship. All these are owned by the household. Now let's turn to the other agent in the economy. The other agent, we're talking about the firms. We should know that in this model, the firms are the producers, and as a result, the firms combine factors of production to create goods and services. So now let's look at the two positions of the agents. One owns the factors of production. The other combines the factors of production to produce goods and services. So before the firms can produce, it means that the households need to transfer factors of production to the firms. So that is the starting point. And let's keep in mind that when we talk about national income, because we are in a closed economy without government, the factors that are transferred from households to firms the goods and services that they will produce, their value, their monetary value, will be the national income in this economy. Now, when the households transfer the factors of production, they will be compensated in the form of factor income. So there's an exchange here. The households will transfer factors of production to firms, and the firms will pay them factor income. When the firms receive the factors of production, they will combine and produce goods and services. So at the end of the day, they will sell back the goods and services to the households, who will in turn consume it. But in selling the goods and services to the households have to pay for the goods and services in the form of expenditure on goods and services. This is the circular flow of income. Now, all the income the household will receive from the transfer of factors to firms, they will in turn use all this income on the goods and services that are produced and sold by the firms. And that will go back to the firms in the form of expenditure on goods and services. And the process will start again. So, at the end of the day, what do we see? We can see that the factor income here is going to be equal to the expenditure on the goods and services, and that will be the value of the goods and services sold by the firms. So, if we want to measure national income, then we can pass through any of these three channels. Either we will find the value of the income received by households, or we will find the monetary value of the goods and services that are sold by the firms, or we will just pick up the expenditures made by households on the goods and services. And through these three channels, we will be able to measure the monetary value of the goods and services that are produced by the factors, which were initially transferred by the firms. So when we want to measure national income, we have three options. The first one will be the income approach, where we add up all the factor incomes received by households. Or we can use the product approach, where we find the value of all goods and services sold by the firms. Or we can use the expenditure approach, in which we sum up all the expenditures made by households on goods and services. So these are the three approaches by which we can find national income. This is the first part of the lesson. Other interesting ones are going to follow. Thank you for watching. I urge you to subscribe, share, and like to promote the channel.